Welcome back to Car Reviews on Michael's Movie Monsters. Today we're going to be talking about Death Becomes Her from 1992, starring Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, and Isabella Rossellini. Film was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who gave us Forrest Gump a year later. He directed the Back to the Future trilogy, that weird Beowulf 3D movie, The Polar Express, A Christmas Carol, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So the reason I bring up the movies that Robert Zemeckis directed is there's a very certain feel to his movies, a certain type of humor, and the fact that he was friends with Lucas and Spielberg at the time. He might still be, I don't know. But going into this in 92, CGI was still new, and by that point we had The Abyss and Terminator 2 that really kind of made filmmakers go, ooh, what can we do? And we were still a year away from Jurassic Park. So this movie tells the story about a love triangle that has spanned 14 years. In the beginning, we meet Helen and her fiance Ernest, and they're going to go see a musical on Broadway starring Helen's oldest friend, Madeline. Yeah, I have the names right. Sorry, it's one of those where I've seen this movie a bunch, and so I tend to forget who is actually Helen, who is Madeline, because it's Goldie Hawn and it's Meryl Streep. You look at them and you're just like, yep, that's Goldie Hawn. This is one of those movies where they're playing personalities and less characters. So these are very talented performers that they can disappear into roles. But this is not a movie that requires that of them. This requires them to be broad and play personality types. The movie is not a horror movie. It's a dark comedy, and it has its tongue firmly planted in its cheek. So Helen and Ernest are engaged. They go to see Madeline in this show. Ernest has never met her, and instantly he's just like blown away, because this is young Meryl Streep, who's supposed to be like mid-30s at this point. Everybody's supposed to be in their mid-30s, and he's just in awe. And he's a plastic surgeon. The next day, she comes to see him, and Goldie Hawn's character is like, please do not, no, I've lost so many boyfriends to her, please do not do this. And it immediately cuts to the wedding of Meryl Streep and Bruce Willis. And so time passes and they age. And time passes again and they age even more. The majority of this story is about aging, and it's about how the beauty industry sets a certain tone and standard for women. God forbid a woman age naturally. And you see that in Meryl Streep in her second scene. She's just done this big bombastic 70s Broadway number that is so on the mark for what 70s Broadway music sounded like. It's this mix of disco, and it's adapting an older play into a musical so that it's new and fresh. And when the movie came out in the 90s, even then everybody's going, wow, that's really dated. Watching it today, you're like, that is so dated, I love it. So there's all these aspects of time marching forward and trying to appeal to a young market, a youth, that a lot of it gets put to the background. It like sets the plot in motion and is a driving force for the characters, but it is never like hitting you over the head going, get it, this is what we're trying to say, do you get it? It's more, it lets you think. It's a type of movie that is like, no, your audience is smart, they'll figure it out. So Meryl Streep is trying to find a way to stop aging or slow down the aging process so that way she can, still be young and a star. And she ends up getting a card for this woman that go meet this woman, go talk to her. And when she goes and she talks to her, she's given a potion. She drinks the potion and aging starts to be reversed in great special effects. Her butt gets lifted. There's literally a scene, she's wearing this low-cut top, and you just see her boob go from here to here. And big laughs, wonderful special effects. The year that it came out, it ended up winning the Oscar for that. And it's not relying on the CGI yet. But with a vial of immortality, she's given the warning to take care of your body. So there ends up being, she gets into an altercation and falls down a flight of stairs, breaking her neck. It spins 360 or 180. And she's backwards. She dead. But because she drank this potion, she can't actually die. All of her vital signs are, that she's dead, she's cold, she doesn't have a pulse. But she's still up and moving around. And so there's there's this great humor of, oh my God, what are we going to do? You're dead, but you're not dead. Oh my God. And Bruce Willis is a very different character than he normally plays. In this, he is not the wisecracking hero. He is a very broken and pathetic man. His spirit has been broken so hard that he's become an alcoholic. He no longer can operate. He's become a mortician. And so this love triangle starts to play again of Helen, Madeline, and Ernest. And you get to see it play out. Great comedy, great special effects. They've aged a little bit in some areas where they use the CG, but they also have aged in a way that because everything is campy and fun, you just kind of go with it. It doesn't stand out as, Instead, you're just along for the ride. I rewatched it last night with a friend, and my friend kept going, oh, this reminds me of Rocky Horror. Oh, this reminds me of this, And at one point I said, the tone and style kind of reminds me of Clue, where you have these big mansions and it's stormy and it's rainy and all these things are happening, and it could be a horrifying situation, but it's played for fun. So that was always that was something that kind of just snuck up on me that I never really thought of before. This was a movie that I watched a lot as a kid. It was one that, we got on VHS at Walmart for like $7, however much it used to be. And we watched it a bunch. And then in my teen years, I forgot about it. It wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, I want to watch that old Meryl Streep Bruce Willis movie. By that point, I was like, if I'm watching a Bruce Willis movie, it's Die Hard. And when I was like 19, I was flipping through HBO one morning and I saw Death Becomes Her was on, and I was like, oh my God, that's a blast from the past. I haven't seen that in forever. I love it. Let's go. And I was watching it, and something in my brain went, they can do a lot of really cool things on stage in Broadway. Why has this not become a musical yet? And so for almost 15 years, I kept hearing, hey, Death Becomes Her is going to become a Broadway musical. It's going to start Christian Chenoweth. Let's go. And I was like, finally, yes, let's do it. And I kept hearing it as a rumor for years and years and years and years. And I think it was the beginning of last year, I heard that it was going to be in Chicago for its out-of-town tryouts. And for those of you who don't know, out-of-town tryouts they have the show cast and everything, but they'll play it in another city and they'll fine-tune things and they'll workshop ideas. And they're making it the best they possibly can before they take it and they move it to Broadway. Because Broadway is expensive. It is expensive to put on a Broadway show. And so you kind of cut your costs down by doing these out-of-town workshops and tryouts. But I had heard that it was in Chicago, and Megan Hilty was going to be playing the Meryl Streep role. And I was like, cool. How far away is Chicago? Can I afford to go to Chicago just to see this show? I've been wanting this show forever. And I've yet to see it. Today I listened to the Broadway cast recording, and I enjoyed it. None of the songs really stood out as something I'm going to have stuck in my head, but I think that it works well for complementing the story. I feel like a lot of times that they take a movie, particularly a comedy, and they make it a stage musical, they try to put the songs in and substitute the writing of the book. So I feel like this is a good compromise. I can't wait to actually see the show. My horror club, we watched the movie like a year ago, and I know one of my friends absolutely hated the movie because it is very much a comedy. This might be my favorite Bruce Willis performance. When I think back on his career and I think about the movies that he's done, one of the first things that always pops into my head is the tough guy. Die Hard, Fifth Element, the whole 9 yards. He's often like the hero, and he's not in this. And it's always kind of a breath of fresh air that it's like, oh yeah, Bruce Willis can do comedy and he can do it well. I love this movie. It's not available for streaming as far as I can see. You can rent it on Amazon. You have to pay to rent it. Nobody has it where you can watch it for free or with a membership. I also would like to shout out that there's the Scream Factory Blu-ray of it, and it's, last I checked, was like $15 on Amazon. I would go that route because this is a movie that you're gonna love and you're gonna rewatch it. And so when it came time to get it for the movie club, I bought the Blu-ray because I'm like, I want to own this. I'm going to watch it multiple times, so it just makes sense. So, have you seen Death Becomes Her? Have you seen the musical? Do you want to see the musical? What movie should be a musical? Sound off below. Let me know. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel, and I don't want to be like, share, and subscribe. But yeah. I'm gonna come back next week with a couple of reviews. I'm gonna try and get the 28 series done, 28 days later, 28 weeks later, and try and get so I can see 28 years later on Thursday. At some point I want to talk about Batman Begins because it's the 20th anniversary of that, but I might not get to that. So yeah, sound off below, let me know, and I will see you guys later.